I got a huge dent in my head where I hit my head in New York, and like
I thought that was just shingles.
Yeah, so you don't.
No,
think
it
that
wasn't.
Was shingles
it
anymore?
wasn't shingles. It was a wound, and then
Still there?
and then the. I hate to. I don't. I'm not a big fan of using the word scab, but like I gotta use
Union
it.
strong.
The scab. Because different people are squeamish about different stuff, and to me, scabs are kind of gross, and people talk about them a lot. But there's no way around it this time. I had a big scab on my head, and it came away. But
What do you mean it came away?
but even though there wasn't, I'm trying not to say use the gross words for like
gross.
a scab coming off.
It sloughed off.
But
detached?
it's like as if the scab was like even though when I got the head wound, it wasn't actively bleeding. But then it turned into this big scab, and then when the scab came away, there's a divot now where the scab was. It's like where the scab was like gonna like heal my head, but then just collapsed my scalp, like where the wound was, and started working on knitting the flesh back up. And then I picked the scab too much, and then they're like, "Fuck it, you want to fucking."
There's no flesh up there though to move. It's just
Right,
like
it
a
has
very
to go
thin
from
layer
the
of
bottom
skin.
up.
That's what I'm
could be
saying.
a-
Like, if you felt my head right now, you'd think there was bone damage because there's nothing up there but
do.
skull.
Can
Right?
You
I
might
was
have
feeling
bone
my
damage.
head,
Can we
but
take turns?
I'm thinking I'd feel it. It might be Morgellons disease.
Get Mark Ellen's disease.
Morgellons disease. It could be
Ellen's.
That's a curse.
Morgellons.
Morgellon.
Morgellons.
I thought it was Morgellons. Is it
looking
Morgellons?
Well, I think if you have Morgellons, you can say it however you want. It's for like gang stalking.
Gang
It's like
stalking.
It's like gang stalking the disease. Morgellons disease.
What is it?
What's gang stalking?
Gang stalking is when you think a bunch of people are stalking you all the time, and then you go on Coast to Coast AM and talk about it every night.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's gang stalking. And Morgellons disease is when you think that aliens have put fibers in your body and they're growing out of your skin, like colorful fibers, because you've been experimented by the government. And the gang stalks, they stalk you because the government is trying to keep track of you so you don't report it to CNN or to Coast AM.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought if we talked about this, I don't know if we talked about this on this show, but I know Duncan was talking about this at one point where it's like the people that now that we live in this world where we're like there's people who are using the woke language
Right.
to defend basically what 10 years ago we all just recognized as like you need help like in terms of like mental illness, like people are using phrases like I identify as a person who has radio signals coming through his teeth fillings,
Right.
so you can't tell me that I don't. Like you can't call me crazy. That's offensive.
Yeah, my crazy is not your prom dress.
Which is very interesting because it's like, yep, you got us. You fucking got us.
I think that's George Norrie's been doing that forever, though. It kind of got. I think it's great that he does that.
I love that Art Bell would. Art Bell was like he would just open the lines and go like,
They
I
still
want
have
to
it.
hear from time travelers. Yeah. Now I want to hear. Yeah,
If you're the Antichrist, call in.
And he always does stuff where when someone says something super crazy and you think he's about to call him on it, he goes, "What color was the spaceship?"
Mm-hmm.
Or he says something like,
there's these guys.
What time was
There's
it?
a podcast called Expanded Perspectives. I think that's what it's called, and it's two like Southern guys. I picture them both as looking like Charlie Daniels or like
Johnny
Dynasty.
Paycheck.
Because they talk like this, and they're both fine Southern sounding gentlemen. They razz each other about whether or not their wife has got them whipped or how they're remodeling their kitchen, but they're not all the way like they're like into like Bigfoot and like Dog Man and like
the
all this
dog
weird
men are
shit.
crazy.
And then like anybody who writes to them, they'll just if you just write to them and say, like the one guy will go like, all right, well, we got to get to some of these letters. Dear Expanded Perspectives, I am a truck driver that was going down Highway 5 and I have a story to tell you. Oh boy, this sounds good. And like they like vocalize this stuff. Like, I was driving when suddenly my eyes picked up the sight of a giant lizard man on the side of the road. What? No! Like they often like the guy like, and I was standing face to face with a human dinosaur hybrid. What?
Holy shit! What episode was that?
It's all of them.
Are they doing a bit, or are they really yes-anding?
I think they're kind of because then I kept listening to it. I was like, wait, did they just yes and everybody who writes in? But then sometimes they're kind of inexplicably skeptical. They're like, well, I don't know if that really happened, but that's quite a story.
Maybe it's the writing style that gets them sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you heard that brainstorm versus green needle shit?
I heard it. Someone explained it to me too in a way that was like, oh, that's not fun.
Well, here's another way that's not fun. That like you see that commercial where the guy's like, stop the cash box, and then it's like it's rock the cat box or something, and it's like, yeah, they're doing rock the Casbah and they're all getting the lyrics wrong. It's like people have been hearing the wrong sounds forever.
I thought Michael Stipe had a lisp for 12 years.
Right.
Dan, do you know this thing? Have you heard this?
Let's
see if it works through the phone here.
Are you talking about the Laurel Yanni
Yeah.
thing?
No,
It's like an extension of it.
But
You
it's the same
either
thing.
think it's on a loop. You either think in your head, think
Yeah.
the word brainstorm, or think the words
Needle.
green needle.
Okay.
And there's one right answer.
Come on, go away.
I just don't like all these people trying to act like they hear Yanni.
No one fucking hears Yanni.
Okay. Well, I'm proud to say I hear neither. That sounds like a laser.
I hear what I think, man. I totally hear what I think, even not looking at it. It's crazy.
I think the acoustics aren't ideal for this.
Yeah,
That's the
this is
point.
not
That's
it.
part of it, is that you just parse it because you're given incomplete information,
Yeah,
and
because
your brain puts a perception on it.
The robot
to give
voice
it a spin.
is broken up into like very low frequencies and very high frequencies. So when you pick one, you're telling your brain, I want to hear the high frequency, which is green needle is a higher register sound than brainstorm, which is
I will
lower.
say I watched a video clip, as most of us probably did, of a guy like using his little sound app to like move the frequencies and demonstrate, but he was only demonstrating for me that all I ever hear is Laurel.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he's like, look, boop, boop, boop. I'm like, yeah, look, let's round up these Yanni people and fucking put an end
Well,
to
that's
this
the thing,
because
is
they're
it's a weird
psychos.
phenomenon.
I agree.
But isn't it probably like people hearing different? I mean,
Right,
at
but
different
they're
frequencies.
being weird. They're not being right. They're being aberrant. Like that's
They might
the
have
thing.
bad phones.
Right, but that's aberrant. Like that's all not, because that's the thing. The fact is, it did say Laurel. The fact is that did say brainstorm. It does in certain circumstances say sound green needle, and that's an accurate perception, but it's an accurate aberrant perception of reality. You know, that's the thing.
But
It's
that's
like,
what our brains are, is simply making quick decisions.
right, just like
and
people
deciding what
simply are
reality.
wrong about stuff. They're wrong about it being Yanni. There's always been people that are convinced of something wrong. Like, we shouldn't pretend that they're right just because they feel like they're right. No, they're wrong.
That blue dress, gold dress shit, I never understood. It
Same
looked,
thing.
That's just your monitor settings and what your brightness is at. It's the same thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not like
Well, it's also
there is an empirical color of the actual dress in the world, but the picture is subject to
context.